Hello everyone, this is just, hold up, let me move this, but I've been gone for a long time. It's because I've been reading this for a few months. I stopped reading comics for a few months, but I picked this up and two other books, which I will show you now. I got, in chronological order, I got X-Men, sorry, I'm pointing at that's God of War. I was playing it, before making this, Batman Nightfall Volume 1. I did get the preload, but the trade paperback of that is very hard to find, so I got it on my Kindle, but read it on my phone since I like colour. That's how comics are supposed to be read. And I also got the big book. It's a deluxe hardcover, The Death of Superman, which I thought was really cool. But there's a problem in one of the pages. There's a rip. The infamous page. Yep. One of the pages that you don't want to have a rip has a rip. Very sad. I'll show you it here. Yeah, gotta go here. See, there's a rip there, which I don't like, but I can't go to the comic book shop since my dad said that it would be bad, sadly. So, on to the book we're going to be reviewing today. X-Men Second Genesis. This is by Chris Claremont and Dave Cockrum in the beginning, though the first issue is by Len Wein and Len Wein. Am I right? Hold up. Len Wein, not Len Wein. What was I on about? But Dave Cockrum draws the first few issues, and then at the later half, it's when John Byrne hops on the book. But yeah, it's really good. We'll go to the back. So this is volume 5 of the Epic Collections. I didn't get volume 1, 2, 3, or, well, 3. There's the first 3 Epic Collections are like the main actual issues of the original X-Men by Stan Lee, and then the fourth one is the cameo, since it got cancelled after the third epic. Fourth one is just the cameos of the X-Men throughout from whenever. And then volume 5 is the rebirth of X-Men from 1975 to 1978. This is the beginning of New X-Men, aka when Chris Claremont takes over and X-Men becomes as famous as it is now. Introduced Wolverine, who was introduced in Hulk, Nightcrawler, Storm, Colossus. He was already character. Already. And Banshee. So it all starts off in this issue called Giant Size X-Men. Now, I did have to make a decision. I could have gotten the omnibus of this. Instead, I got the Epic since I like its design, even though this one, for some reason, at the bottom you can see there, that's peeling. I don't know why. But yeah, for someone who likes to keep their books in pristine condition. Very sad. But yeah, Second Genesis, just the introduction of a bunch of X-Men characters, and they have to say the old X-Men. We'll get to this terrible person in a minute. I hate his character, man. He's so annoying. But you go on this adventure, and then they find out that, Krakoa is an island that's alive. We have to get out. So they get out eventually after finding the X-Men. Now, this first issue is long, 60 pages-ish. Not long as if it's 60 pages, long as for a single issue. So there, that's the end of the issue. I'll try and cut out spoilers. This two-parter, Night of the Living Beast or something, that's the second part. But this is a two-parter with one of the villains from the original X-Men series. But it's just, he comes back, tries to get the new X-Men, and something happens to that person that I was talking about. Which, no, that's not it's three-parter technically. It goes back to back about this. So it goes to War Hunt, and then we get, sorry, I don't know how to record this. I haven't been recording in a while, in a hot minute. But yeah, so I'm going to just make sure I don't get into spoilers. Yeah, okay. So we're not in spoilers yet. But yeah, you can see there's a lot writing. That's how you know it's old book. And there are some comments in the book that I don't agree with, and they do mention it up here. They give yourself like a warning that the book was made a long time ago, so some stuff might be offensive. Look, here you go. Here it says, this previously published content includes negative depictions and or misinterpretations of people of cultures. These stereotypes were wrong then and wrong now. Rather than remove this content, we want to acknowledge its harmful impact, learn from it, and spark conversation to create more inclusive future together. I don't know why they decided to have that type of stuff in the book, but there is that stuff in the book. I found a lot of it with Storm specifically, and I don't agree with what they were saying. That's not on. Though Chris Claremont is a great writer. But then we just get into the X-Men together. Night of the Demon, that's what it's called. But yeah, then we get introductory of a bunch of characters. Now this issue is where Xavier kind of goes mad, and that keeps along with the entire epic. Like I'm saying, like most of the epic, he's gone mad apparently. Oh, here's the ones. Like the next issue is the Return of Sentinels. This is Eric the Red, Cyclops' old disguise for being evil, and this is when the X-Men fight each other. The X-Men fight each other twice in this book, and there's a lot of infighting with Wolverine. But yeah, then we go to X-Men. The Sentinels have returned. The Sentinels are back. This is a really good issue in my opinion. Probably one of my favorites. Might come actually later. There's an issue where X-Men finally become intergalactic, as you know, and they go out into space, and I think it's really cool. Oh, there's also the beginning of, the Phoenix Saga that kind of takes place here, but as you can see, yeah, they're fighting each other. Sorry about that. And then they fight each other, and that's where this comes from. Though I don't know why they changed the font. That is a decision and a half. But yeah, this is where Phoenix comes up, and Storm's very sad. I found that funny. I don't know why. It looks funny. But yeah, that is peak. Love that cover. Looks so cool. Yeah, I don't know if you tell me how you want me to angle the camera. So I could do this, but then I'd be like that. I don't know. If you want it like this, I could, but it's just weird hand placement. But yeah, as you can tell, there's a lot of writing. Can you tell why I stopped reading comics? I was really tired of reading so much in every page, and I was just trying to speed through it. This is where I stopped. I got through this much of the book in 2 days. And then as soon as I got to the castle, I was so bored and tried to speed run these first few issues of it. And then this just took a slog, and it took forever to get going. I got so bored. But it gets interesting afterwards, which I find really annoying. Since if it didn't, I would have kept on reading. Excuse me. But yeah, I'm going to rush past that. Alright, so as soon as we're past that, we fight the X-Men again for the second time in this book. And it turns out that they're fake, and also this is where the X-Men go to space. And there's she is connected to Charles Xavier in a soul type of way where they can't keep away from each other because of what that demon did to him, made it the soul links or something. So we have to sort out that drama with war in between Liliana and her brother. They're fighting over a big place, so the X-Men go over and try to stop that, and then they reach this big power place. It's if you go in, you grant the power to end all wars or something. You just grant infinite power, I think it is, not power to end wars. What am I on about? But they have to fight some Guardians to do it. Now, I'm trying not to go through any spoilers, so I'm just going to skip that part, but just know that that's probably my favorite part of the book. But yeah, now we're into some Iron Fist. Now, this is where there's one more issue of the X-Men, actually, an annual, but this is where X-Men, where you will want to get the omnibus, since the omnibus cuts out this. skips right next to 6 and 7. Or no, I think it's just 6, but it might be 7. 6 and 7 of the epics. Because this has just a bunch of Marvel team ups. And this is where I was like, okay, might as well get through it. So, like, as I said, the beginning of this, and then after they go to the castle, were the best parts of the book. My least favorites were in the castle and a few issues, just that whole segment of the book. So I'd say around from pages like 100 to 200 were kind of boring. I don't know why I'm like this. Sorry. But yeah, they were kind of boring. But this part was okay. It was just 2 issues of Iron Fist fighting Sabretooth. And then the second issue for some reason. I don't know. Then they fight the X-Men over a misunderstanding, which I found really annoying since, like, it was so dumb. They could have just spoken and the entire issue is this issue is, like, entirely meaningless. But after that, you get back into X-Men. And they fight this guy who's from Wolverine's past, from his past organization, from X-Men, John Size X-Men. This is the Marvel team up with Spider-Man, and they fight these people that were murdered but then turn into gods. So yeah, that's something that happens. Now this issue is probably my least favorite thing, since I found it interesting, and then we don't get the sequel issue that finishes the story. It's Spider-Man and Hulk Marvel team up. It's the continuation of this story where Spider-Man was there, but Spider-Man has to get dropped off, ends up trying to help Hulk with Banshee, and that's the only reason they're there. Just because a few pages of X-Men and Banshee was there. Only reason. Banshee leaves a few pages later, and then that's it. That is all of it. It just ends, and we don't know what happens to Spider-Man in this situation. Well, we know he lives, but, like, we don't know what happens to Hulk. We don't know how he fights this. And I thought that was really interesting since Hulk was turning on Spider-Man. So interesting. Cut to this. And this was a good issue, though. I did like it. It was like evil Cyclops. I can't remember. It was a few weeks before I read this, but what I'm saying there is evil Cyclops. But a fella got hired to bash the X-Men, locked them in the danger room. And while doing that, they escaped and bet them up. And then we're into the Havoc play. This is the last few issues. So this is Marvel Team Up Spider-Man and Havoc. Spider-Man is in a few issues now, I think about it. But it's between Havoc and this mischievous guy. Now, when they do this, Havoc gets kidnapped, and then the living monolith comes out. And then Thor arrives, and then Thor fights the living monolith and ends up beating him. Then the epic collection ends. Yep, that's the entire epic. And I found it good. 10 out of 10. Would read again. I really liked it. Just that a few parts I didn't like. But besides that, amazing collection. You should definitely get it. It's the beginning of X-Men. An incredible starting point, in my opinion. I started here. First ever X-Men comic started here instead of Volume 1. And I really like it. And it's an epic. Love the epic format. You get a bunch of extras as well. So, like, yeah. Look at that. So many extras, and also a few extra page covers, which I found really cool. See? Yeah. And the epic at the end. But yeah, that is X-Men. Volume 5, Second Genesis. Would recommend you get it. It's really good. Like I said, there are some parts, and because it came out at the time that it came out in, some bits are going to be bad. But besides that, I found it really enjoyable. And I got me money's worth, €50. And the thing is, this was kind of out of print in my local comic book shops, so I had to pay not full price, like €5 over. They were selling it for 45 a few weeks back, and I went in and they were selling it for 50, so I just bought it. But a few weeks later, they came out with another one, and it was like €30, €35. So I wasted €20. Well, nearly €20. Okay, the book fell. Nice. But yeah, that's just my sob story about X-Men. Yeah, would recommend it. It's a thick book as well. You'll get your money's worth with it. That's X-Men. That's all I have to say. I don't want to continue on blabbering about. The next video will either be Batman Nightfall or Marvel Civil War. You can decide what you want in the comments down below, but it depends. The Death of Superman will come later, and it's just because I'm scared to read it because of a certain book that is also written by Dan Jurgens, which is 0 Hour, my least favorite comic book in my collection. The 5 issues that I spent on this, I wish I took back. But yeah, that's just my video. Goodbye.